Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Prediction Show on the Grilling Truth Sports Network. As always, the Grilling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sports book that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. I am your host for the NFL show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host. First up, the man who won last week at 10-4, while me and Steve were 9-5. Our guest, Jake, was 5-9. So if you're out there, Jake, we're gonna have you on again sometime. How you doing, Dan?
Good, man. I'm liking being in the lead so far. I think you mentioned it earlier before we went on, and it's nice being on top for a change. Giggity.
You're usually been over. All right, we've got next up 1981 national champion with the Indiana Hoosiers, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good. Doing good.
All right, Steve. That
All
was
right,
short
Steve,
and to
let's
the
do it.
point. All right, guys. We are at week 8, a week where the main game is the Giants and the Seahawks. As Dan would say, that's ugly, but that's the way it is right now. We're going to start off with Thursday Night Football, a game that a month ago you'd have thought would have probably been the biggest game of the week. We've got the Baltimore Ravens tied for first place in the AFC North against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I believe are tied for first in the NFC South with the Falcons. Aren't they, Dan?
This division is going to be much tighter than anyone anticipated, and I am almost positive that Tom Brady is repulsed.
I am almost sure that everybody is repulsed.
Should not be this close. It should not be this difficult for them.
All right. The Ravens are favored by 1.5, I believe. What do you think?
I hate this game. I'm going to go Baltimore. I'm going to go Baltimore for the sheer fact that Tampa Bay just looks lost on offense, and their defense didn't look particularly good either. They got steamrolled. I don't know what's going on in Tampa. I don't know if Tom Brady's divorce is affecting him that much and it's pouring off to the rest of the team.
Hey, not unless it affects the offensive line and people getting injured. Because, I mean, Tom Brady still, his stats are what, 8 touchdowns and an interception? I don't think the issue is Tom Brady.
It's the offense, though, that's the issue. I mean, the defense giving up, I don't know, like 160 or something yards to Carolina after they traded their best player is awful. But the offense not putting up any points until the fourth quarter, that's just indefensible.
And it's against Carolina. It's against Carolina.
I don't care. It's indefensible. You're the Bucks. You should be running away with this division, and you've now lost 4 of your last 5 games, and you're a disappointment.
All right, Steve. Ravens, Bucks. Bucks are favored by 1.5. I'm sorry.
Mike, you and I had a discussion about this just in a general conversation offline earlier this week, and I just think I have this feeling Brady's, while statistically he's still putting up numbers, I get that, but how much is his effectiveness right now? I mean, in earlier years, we've seen him overcome poor offensive lines, no running backs, and do all these things. He just doesn't seem to be getting it done right now for the Bucks, and I don't know if he's just hit a wall. I don't know. I don't. I think we all used to say anytime Brady's playing, bet on Brady, and I'm not sure that that's the story right now. And he may rebound from it. I mean, I don't know if the divorce is having or the separation is having any effect. It's got to wear on you mentally if you've been married for as long as he has. But I just think that they're going to flounder and they're going to struggle to make the playoffs right now. I think they will, because it's like Danny said, it's a crappy division. But I'm going to go with Dan and go with the Ravens on this one. I think that I think the Ravens are probably going to come out fired, ready to play, and just be more aggressive than the Bucks have shown in the last 2 or 3 games.
Well, the Ravens struggled with the Browns while the Buccaneers were getting beat by the Panthers. Baltimore, actually, if you look at them historically over the last year, have played better on the road. I think that the Ravens will run the ball on the Buccaneers. Lamar Jackson's been bad. Tom Brady's been bad. J.K. Dobbins will be good. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think the game will be a lot closer than a lot of people think, but I think the Ravens win the game, and it'll probably be
you're thinking Gus Edwards. I believe Dobbins is out.
It doesn't matter who it is. The Ravens are averaging 160 yards a game right now. So if they can do that with the running game, they'll be fine in this one. Next up, we've got Dan's early in the year Super Bowl prediction, the Denver Broncos against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are favored by 3.5, Steve.
Yeah, this is another one of those games. It's in London, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awful.
so it's a London game in Jacksonville. How does Jacksonville get so many London games?
Because they don't draw at home, so they just send them to London.
Okay.
There's only like 12 people to get pissed when they lose a player, when they lose a home game.
There you go. Hang on here. Oh, God. Well, Russell Wilson's out, isn't he? He's not playing, right, Dan?
Yeah. Well, he was limited in today's practice. He's trending towards playing, so we'll see. I guess when he was on the airplane, he was doing knee highs in the aisle of the airplane and working out in the airplane on the way to London.
Oh, that's enough for me.
He wants to play. He's there. I don't know why you would travel if you're not going to play. So I think he might play.
All right. My question is, did he have grape or orange?
Grape or orange?
Don't you remember, Mike? You're old enough. You remember the knee-high drinks?
No, I'm not nearly as old as you, Steve.
Oh, my God. You guys don't remember knee-high?
I've never heard of that in my whole life.
Knee-high grape drinks or
I think that's beer? What George Washington used to drink.
Only grape drink I know of is like Welch's.
Oh,
or like that purple soda.
You guys have never heard of Faygo? Faygo Diet Red Pop?
We've all heard of Faygo.
I don't know.
Well, Knee-High was just another.
You've never heard of Faygo? They sell it now, Dan.
Yeah, Faygo.
It's horrible.
Where's the commercial? What flavor would you like? What flavor do you got? I'll have the Diet Red Pop. God, what a classic commercial.
Classic, Steve.
It sounds classic. So who are you picking, Steve?
I'm going to go. This is a home game to me for Jacksonville. Denver's a mess all across the board. I'm going with the Jags and giving up the 2.5 points in this game.
3.5. All right, I'm going to go with the Jaguars also. I think they're playing better. They've lost 4 straight games. All 4 losses were by 8 or less points. I'm going to take the Jags here, Dan.
I want to take the Jags, but I don't know. There's still something about them I don't trust, even in a game like this where they're favored and they probably should win. I'm going to go with Denver. I think maybe Jacksonville wins, but let's not sleep on Denver's defense. And Sertan at corner could very well be the difference in this game if he takes like a pick 6 back off of Trevor Lawrence. But I'm going to go Denver.
Joseph Michael says Jacksonville by 128. And then he brings up a good commercial. Thanks, Mean Joe. That was a great commercial, Steve.
Let's have a Coke.
And a smile and shut up. All
right,
right, next up, we got
take my jersey.
We've got the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is favored by 6.5 points. I think the Falcons, Arthur Smith's done a great job with this team, but Marcus Mariota is limited in throwing. The Panthers showed some life after cleaning house last week. I think P.J. Walker will actually have some success here. I think the Falcons win the game, but I'm going to take the Panthers in the 6.5, Dan.
Yeah, 6.5 is a little rich. Let me see if the injury wise anything special's going on.
Don't be cheating and looking things up.
No, Chuba Hubbard, whatever Hubbard is was not in attendance due to an ankle injury, something to keep an eye on moving forward. Falcons, nobody specials out. That wasn't already going to be out. I'm going to go Carolina. I think Atlanta wins, but I don't like this 6.5. This feels off. Even though it wouldn't surprise me if they did win by a touchdown or more.
All right, Steve.
It just feels off.
I'm looking. I think I'm going to that 6.5 point spread is big. These are two fairly evenly matched teams. I'm gonna take Carolina in the points like you guys did.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Dan. If Atlanta was to get their skill, if they were to get everybody healthy, I think they could win that division.
I mean, like you said, they're tied for second place right now with the Bucks. I mean, they have the same record, but the Bucks have the better record in the division. Atlanta is, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because Atlanta is not a good football team. Like you already said, Mariota's limited.
Yeah, but you know what? That could be said about like 22 of the 32 teams right now.
I know, but there's some.
That's why they got his shot.
But there's some teams that are just worse, and it's like Atlanta. They've got two players, tight end and receiver that they've taken in the top 10 over the last 2 seasons in the NFL draft. And they can't get these guys the rock. And it's not because they're not getting open or they're not talent or whatever. It's not a talent issue. It's the quarterback. The quarterback is extremely limited. His best throws are when he's on the move or when they get him out of the pocket, which doesn't necessarily lead to winning football because if getting out of the pocket wins you championships, Lamar Jackson would have had a couple already. You need to win from the pocket. You need to be able to make those plays in tight windows. Mariota can't do that.
Thank you, Dan.
If they don't run the ball, they're not going to succeed. That's part of the reason the Bengals had their way with them. The Bengals were just flat out better in every aspect of the game, talent-wise, everything.
Yeah, but there's nobody in the NFC South like that.
But once they went up 21-0, you can't run the ball anymore. So Atlanta's just a bad team, man. But second place, good for them. Kudos.
All right, next up, the Chicago Bears at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are giving 10.5, Dan.
Chicago at Dallas. All right. 10.5. I'm going to go with Chicago. I think Dallas can very well win this game by 10 points, and it would surprise no one. They can win this game by 21 points, and it would surprise no one. Chicago's not lighting anyone on fire, and they just traded their best pass rusher in Robert Quinn to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round pick. That's not a good look when your defense is already slacking. Now, I know coming into the game against the Patriots, Mike, you had mentioned in last week's show that the Bears, or I don't know if it was on last week's show or it was via text. I don't remember. But you had mentioned that the Bears were a top 5 team against the Pats.
And they are. The only problem is the Cowboys are going to run.
And they just, well, that's actually fun you mentioned that because Zeke Elliott is not going to be playing in this game because he got a helmet, I think, to his knee, and he's going to be out.
Pollard.
So it's going to be all Tony Pollard, and Pollard's great. I love Pollard. He's the more efficient runner than Zeke, but I don't like that 10.5. And I'm kind of hoping, even though I'm a Lions fan, I'm kind of hoping that Justin Fields takes off from here. He had a really great game against the Patriots. Can he build on it, get some momentum? This team ain't shit, but signs of life. It's encouraging. Let's see if they can keep it rolling. Maybe not get blown out this week.
All right, I think the thing that strikes me is the stat that sticks out is the Bears have allowed 23 sacks. And they're facing the Cowboys pass rush led by Michael Parsons.
Beef.
Could have been a long day for Justin Fields. The Bears, I mean, they beat the Patriots, but we've already established the Patriots aren't any good, especially when they start Mac Jones. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to give them 10.5 points because I don't think the Bears can score more than 10 points in this game, Steve.
I'm going to go with Dan on this one. I Fields look good against New England, and I'm going to bet on the fact that he can carry that through to another game. And I understand Mike Parsons is back there, but Fields has got the mobility to evade him as much as anybody in the NFL can. if that's doable at all. But I think 10.5 points is a lot of points to give up for a fairly mediocre Dallas team. And Chicago's playing a little hot football right now if they can extend it. But I'll take the chance and take the 10.5 points in Chicago on this one.
Yo, and don't, even though the Bears traded their best pass rusher, don't sleep on their defense. They did have a dominant second half against the Patriots, forced Zappy into a couple turnovers, and they held us.
Actually, the TV camera forced one.
Yo, I saw that. The one of the Mac Jones pick.
Yeah.
I saw that
that was the Zappy pick.
Oh, no, the Zappy pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have hit the wire of the camera.
No, it hit the wire. You could see it change directions, and nobody said a word about it.
Yeah,
I always wondered why the cameras are there. They're not really needed there.
I don't think so. You don't need all those views for what?
No. What do you do if something like that happens in a Super Bowl sometime?
Oh, if that happened in the Super Bowl, we'd never see that again.
They would kill the cameraman.
Oh yeah,
make him disappear.
Yep.
Next up, Dan, I'll let you start. This is your Detroit Lions playing the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 3 in Detroit.
I'm going to go with Miami. I think it's clear at this point that everything we saw from Detroit's offense in the first few weeks of the season was a fluke. It was a nice start, but they are exactly who I thought they were. They're a bad team. Their defense.
I think they're still a good offensive team, but defensively they're so bad that the offense eventually breaks because you keep putting them on the field.
I mean, they could be good offensively, but it doesn't help when Swift is out. You lose Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's what I mean. So to me, the start of the season with the offense is what the offense is if it's healthy, but it's not healthy now.
The biggest issue besides the health is Goff. The man, I can't stop turning the ball over. He's got the Dan Jones problems of last year.
But you've taken his two best players. You've taken his 2 best players away from you.
Still, 2 interceptions.
You can say still, but it's kind of stupid to sit here and discount it because I'm pretty sure if you took, Patrick Mahomes' 2 best receivers away from him or Josh Allen's, you take Stephon Diggs away or you take 2 of the 3 away from Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. They're not going to look as bad as Jared Goff, but they're not going to be near as good as what they were. And Jared Goff is just a guy. Just a guy means he can win if you put enough guys around him.
4 turnovers is way too much. 4 turnovers is too much. 2 picks, whatever, but 4 turnovers.
How about this? Just fire Dan Campbell and go get a quarterback after the year.
Get a quarterback and get an offensive head coach to help groom that quarterback. Shit, man. Enough with these defensive guys and rah-rah guys and old coaches. Let's get some fresh blood.
All right. Who'd you pick? Miami?
Miami,
right.
Yep.
Next up, Steve. Miami at Detroit. Miami favored by 3.
Yeah, I'll take Miami. I thought that Tua looked pretty good in his return, and I think he's just going to keep getting better. Miami's got the speed receivers out there, and yeah, I think 3 points is not enough for Detroit to cover a spread.
All right, Miami at Detroit. Miami -3. I'm going to take the Lions in the points. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I don't think Miami's very good either. They've got some offensive players that'll score points, but they did not look good against Pittsburgh. They haven't looked good in a while. I don't think Tua is anything special. I think he's just a guy also. They have no pass rush.
None.
No pass rush. So Jared Goff may not throw many picks this week if he just gets to stand there and hand or throw the ball to guys. I'm going to take Detroit. It's just a feeling. I still think Dan Campbell should be fired. Next up, Steve, the Arizona Cardinals at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 3.5. I think there's a case to be made right now. The Vikings might be the best team in the NFC. If it's not them, it's the Eagles, which nobody would have predicted at the start of the year.
Nobody.
I said Steve, by the way. Go ahead, Steve. Steve gets mad because I don't ask him questions, so I just kind of
No, that's all right. Cardinals look good against the Saints, I thought, but they're the Saints.
Well, it was Andy Dalton's 2 pick sixes in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Dude. Yeah, that's what it was.
And I think one of them wasn't even his fault, wasn't it? I mean,
everything's Andy's fault.
Yeah, well, I like Andy Dalton. I
do too. He's
I
just a
wish he was
guy.
quarterback in the Colts. Truthfully, if I had my pick.
Yeah, who would want Matt Ryan, who's fourth in the NFL in pass yardage?
Well, obviously the Colts don't, but
Nobody.
they benched his ass. So.
Well, the Colts also got rid of Carson Wentz, who's a lot better.
Now, hold on. Let's save the Colts for later because I really want to get into the Colts. I want to hear what Steve's got to say about that, man. I really want to get into it.
Yeah, okay. Vikings are coming off a bye week, which gives them some rest. They're going to be rested. Game's up in Minnesota. It's only 3.5. I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one. I think the Vikings are somebody who, as you say, Mike, could be at the end of the year contending for the NFC Championship. They could be.
Well, I mean, there's a case to be made that skill position wise, they're as good as anybody.
You're exactly right. So I'm going to give up the 3.5 and take the Vikings in this one.
All right, I'm going to take the Vikings. This is a no-brainer. 3.5 points, I'll take all day. Kyler Murray sucks. DeAndre Hopkins might make it interesting a little bit, but I think the Vikings win the game. Next up.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Raiders.
You skipped me.
Oh,
skipped me.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Come on. Even though Kyler Murray, if I remember the stat correctly, something crazy like 16-3 or something like that, something ridiculous when DeAndre Hopkins is healthy and playing a full game. And otherwise, it's just a terrible losing record that he has. And I think, there's definitely something to that, having your top receiver and arguably when he's healthy, a top 5 receiver in the NFL over the course of his career so far in Hopkins. But like you said, Mike, Minnesota might be the best team in the NFC right now outside of Philadelphia, which I feel dirty saying that out loud and repeating you, but you're not wrong. I think I agree. I agree with you. I think this is a no-brainer. I think
and how about this? I think Minnesota's the best team in the NFC. I think they're better than Philadelphia.
Okay. At this point, why not? I disagree, but honestly, it's really, really close at this point. And Minnesota's got the weapons, at least offensively. As long as Kirk Cousins doesn't shit the bed, they could make some noise down the stretch.
You know what? Kirk Cousins, I have more confidence in Kirk Cousins than I do Jalen Hurts.
Why?
Why? Because Jalen Hurts is just not very good. He's just a guy. If you look, everybody rips Daniel Jones. I would guess if you pull up Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts' stats, they're very comparable.
I can do that, and I can have that.
See.
I can do that.
I'm betting they're not that far away from each other.
Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the ball over that much, though. Like Jones.
Just look up the stats.
All right. Jeez. All right. I'm on that front. I'm going to say I don't think we can look past Kirk Cousins' inability to win big games when it matters.
I think we can. Tell me the times he was on a team that was good enough to win big games.
Dude, he's had those opportunities. It's not like Minnesota hasn't been relevant.
But he has it with the lesser team.
If you're a top 10 quarterback, if you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback and you're not just a game manager like a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer or somebody like that, if you're a legit quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, it doesn't matter who you have at the end of the day, because it's not like Minnesota's been just devoid of talent.
I would like to explain something to you. Every quarterback is a game manager. That's what your job as a quarterback is. Some game managers can do more than others, but are you telling me that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are not good game managers?
Yes, but the difference between them and an actual game manager.
What's an actual game manager? Give me your definition of what a game manager for a quarterback is.
So a game manager is a quarterback who he can't put your team on his shoulders and carry you to victory when it matters. And I'm talking about guys like Kirk Cousins.
Wait a
Jimmy
second.
Garoppolo.
So you're saying that a game manager is not a good thing?
No, I'm saying if you're labeled just a game manager as a quarterback in the NFL.
I'm sorry, but the only people that label quarterbacks as game managers are stupid ass fans that have no clue what they're watching. You have to manage a game as a quarterback.
Yeah,
You're
but
just
there's
talking about a dude. No, you're talking about guys that can make plays to win games, right? And Kirk Cousins has never done that, right?
not any
Never.
relevant games.
Okay.
No,
Not any relevant games. So,
I mean, dude,
what do you
honestly,
consider?
hold on.
What do you consider a relevant game?
Either if we're not talking about the playoffs, then we're talking about a game late in the NFL season when your team is relevant, playoff contender, championship contender, division winning contender, and you have an opportunity to lead your team to victory, and you can't.
Okay, so
Like, honestly, hold on. That's what separates the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes and
yeah,
the
but
Josh
they're still, but those guys are still. Everybody is a game manager if you're a good quarterback.
Yes, but at the end of the day, there's certain players, there's certain quarterbacks that you can rely on that if your team is down by 14 points going into the second half of a game against
You do realize right now there's only 3 of those guys in the NFL right now.
Nah, I mean,
there aren't.
You wouldn't trust Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers right now to lead your team if you're down 10 points in the third quarter to come back and win that game?
Dude, no. From what I've seen, they both look like crap. I know I defended Tom Brady earlier because he had no players with him, but there's nothing that would make me feel confident. Put it like this. If you're down 10 points and you got the Bucs and Tom Brady's playing and early in the third quarter and Joe Burrow is on the other side or Patrick Mahomes is, do you really feel confident he's going to win that game?
Yeah, but they get the benefit. They get the benefit of the doubt over other guys, like
because they've done it. They've done it.
They've done it,
and the thing is this: you could rip Kirk Cousins, but right now Kirk Cousins is playing really well. He's playing good enough. That his team will play in relevant games. So doesn't it mean something? If you take a team that nobody thought they could win, and all of a sudden halfway through the season, every game you're playing is relevant. Doesn't that mean that the games where he led his team from behind 3 times already this season, aren't those relevant? Because if he loses those 3 games, he's never going to get to play what you call a relevant game.
Well, if you want to compare, let's just compare Jalen Hurts to Kirk Cousins then.
I want to compare Jalen. You can't compare him because Kirk Cousins has proven he's an NFL quality starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts has not proved that yet.
But based on what we've seen thus far this season, I would trust Jalen Hurts to be able to make those plays down the stretch.
Okay. Well, how many times has he done it this year? Well, Kirk Cousins has done it 4 times this year in the fourth quarter. 4 times.
Yeah, but
what's Jalen Hurts done? He's beaten a bunch of bad teams.
But we're not talking about putting the load on Kirk Cousins' shoulders. We're not talking about relying on Kirk Cousins to lead you to victory.
And there is 3 quarterbacks you could do that with. That's it. You can't do that with Jalen Hurts, dude. I'm sorry, but if you're telling me right now, Jalen Hurts in the third quarter, down 10 to Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati, you trust he's going to put his team on his back and win, you're a moron because you're going to lose by 30 because he's not that good. Jalen Hurts is nowhere near as good as Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk Cousins is the peak.
Neither is Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk Cousins is the peak of the above average quarterback. He is right outside that top 10, and if he doesn't put it up,
actually,
I guess that's what I'm for.
Dude, the 4th best quarterback in the NFL right now is Geno Smith,
which is crazy. So crazy.
But it's true. It's
gross.
And it's true. Well, the NFL hates you too, dumbass. There you go. First dumbass. Steve, Raiders at Saints. Steve falls asleep. -2.
What are we doing? What game now?
Vegas -2. Raiders at Saints.
Let me write this down.
Before you pick, special note: Darren Waller is back, 10 for the Raiders. He practiced, coming back from a hamstring injury. He has not played since week 5, but it looks like he's going to suit up for this game. So the Raiders get a Pro Bowler back, key weapon for their offense. And it looks like Andy Dalton is going to start yet again this week.
When did Andy Dalton start playing for the Saints?
He's been there for a while, Steve.
Oh, that's right.
We just talked about him throwing the 2 pick sixes.
You're right.
Steve is tired, guys. We apologize.
No.
Well, you are tired.
I had him in Cowboy Blue because he was at the Cowboys last year. So that was my bad.
It happens.
It happens. I'm going to go out on a limb here and give up the 2 points and take the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders also, Dan.
Easy. You guys are easy. I like that. I'm going to take the Raiders as well. I don't know how I could honestly pick the Saints the way they're playing right now. And last week with Andy Dalton, just another one. Just stop turning the ball.
Andy Dalton played well. It was just the 2 dumbass passes.
2 pick sixes, man. So ugly.
Without those, they win the game.
Yeah, but
and one of those was tipped.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I'm curious if the Raiders are just going to keep riding Josh Jacobs, dude. Guys come out of nowhere and just dominated the last few
He
games.
didn't come out of nowhere. He's just not hurt now.
Yeah,
that was the issue before. All right, next up, we got the Patriots at the surprising Jets. The Patriots are favored by 2.5. I'll pick this one first. Breece Hill, losing him is huge. Zach Wilson is not very good. But from last I saw, the Patriots are starting Mac Jones. Is that correct?
That looks correct.
I'm going to take the Jets and the 2.5 points. What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to go with the Patriots. They were just embarrassed. There's no way Bill Belichick is going to let Zach Wilson do anything. There's no way
they won't have to because Mac Jones ain't going to do nothing either.
Yeah, but the Jets losing Breece Hall is huge. As good as the Jets have been this season, they've got the defensive rookie of the year in Sauce Gardner, who was also the defensive player of the year in the AFC, defensive player of the week in the AFC this past week. Sauce Gardner's the truth. Their defense is looking good, but losing a guy like Breece Hall, that is literally their entire offense. That would be like the Titans losing Derrick Henry. Not saying that Breece Hall is Derrick Henry.
Last year, and then they still were the number 1 seed.
Well,
I'm just bringing it up. I know they got Ryan Tannehill, which is a lot better than Zach Wilson.
A lot better than Zach Wilson at this point. And they've got the much better coach as well. But no, I think...
You know what, though? The Jets coach ain't no bum, as Mickey would say to Rocky, and Rocky won. So I don't think that's as big a deal as you might think.
No, I was really high on Robert Saleh when he was on the head coaching trail. I was very disappointed that the Lions didn't end up picking him up, but it is what it is. The Jets, I know their fans hearing it on radio every day, hearing different podcasts here in New York. Jets fans are fired up. They're totally on board. The bandwagon has officially left the station. Jets fans are in. They're expecting playoffs at this point. As long as Zach Wilson doesn't screw it up, and James Robinson, who they traded for from the Jaguars, I think for a 6th-round pick, which was a great trade, a great pickup for him. He's not Breece Hall. I'm gonna go with the Patriots here. I think they rebound from a disappointing, disgusting, just all around non-Patriots game.
Do you see how Steve? I think he tries to see how many words he can put in one sentence. All right, Patriots and Jets. Steve, Patriots are favored by 2.5.
2.5.
I'll take the points in the Jets.
All righty. Next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Philadelphia Eagles for the Pennsylvania State Championship. The Eagles are favored by 11, Steve.
Man, I tell you what, 11 points is a lot of points for a team that I'm not sold on yet. That is, but the Steelers quarterback a mess. I'm going to go ahead and just say I think the Eagles can blow this game wide open and win it. It's at home for the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles.
Yeah, and I think Kenny Pickett will help the Eagles pad their NFL best plus 12 turnover differential. I'm going to take the Eagles minus 11 also. I mean, to to me, the Dolphins aren't that good because this version of the Steelers, they barely beat. Kenny Pickett's a turnover machine, which I did predict before he got drafted. But go ahead, Dan. What you think?
You did.
And I'm glad he's a Steeler, by the way.
Kenny Pickett has shown some potential in some of his plays, but Philly, I think, is too good. I'm going to go with Philadelphia -11 here. We've talked about this on this show often. We even talked about it with Dallas early on. Some of these double-digit lines are very tricky, and they can get you, but I think Kenny Pickett turns the ball over twice, and Philly runs away with it.
All right. Steve, did you already pick that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did you? All right. Next up, the Tennessee Titans, the first-place team in the AFC South, coming off their hammering of the Indianapolis Colts, will go to Houston to play the Texans. The Titans are -2. Just seems like a trick, Dan.
Nah, it's not a trick. It's.
Then how are they only favored by 2?
I was gonna say it should be higher. That line should be,
I know.
5.
That's why I think it's a trick. They're trying to sucker us into something.
It's a trap. I'm gonna go Tennessee. They're the better team. They're leading the division. I think this is the point where they just start running away with the division. Set the tone. Do your thing.
Yeah, the Texans allow a league worst of 165 yards per game on the ground. I'm going with the Titans, Steve.
This is the dumbest. This is the lock of the week. I can't believe it's only 2 points. So I'm going with Tennessee for sure. Yeah.
All right, next up, Steve's Indianapolis Colts will host the Washington Commanders. Colts are favored by 3 with Sam Erlanger, or whatever the hell, Alanger, whatever the hell his name is, playing the starting quarterback. Steve, what do you think?
I don't know what the hell's going on in Indianapolis. God, I think first off, Irsay ought to fire himself and then fire everybody else.
Well, you have to fire everybody else and then fire himself.
Then
Because if he fires himself, you wouldn't be able to
fire himself. Dadgummit. I mean, sell the team to Peyton Manning or something like that. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Peyton Man thing.
Yeah. I don't know, Dan. I think you have more insight on this. What's going on with Matt Ryan? At first, I heard he had a level 2 shoulder separation, and that he was out for the rest of the year. And then I heard he just was benched.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what the truth is on what. I mean, Matt Ryan was not the worst player on that football team. I mean, he was in the top 5 statistically of all the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I mean, you take your star running back and you give him 10 carries on his game back, and he averages 5.8 yards per carry, and you only let him run the ball 10 times. I don't understand what Frank Reich is even thinking. I don't know who's running that offense, who's designing their offense, but that's an incredible waste of talent. I mean, Paris, what's Paris's last name, Mike, the wide receiver?
Campbell.
He had a great game. He caught like 10 or 11 balls.
Yeah, he did his thing.
Pittman is I still think Pittman is in that mold.
I love Pittman.
Of the all-purpose wide receiver. Like, who's the guy in Cup? He's not Cooper Cup, so don't say I'm just saying he's in that mold of guys that just can get open anywhere on the field, wherever they got to do. And they don't seem to be bringing their rookie receiver on as much and throwing to him, giving him enough opportunities. So defensively, this Darius Shaquille Leonard, what the hell? The guy's on vacation. What the hell?
Yeah.
You know, get out and play football. He broke his nose or something now. And it's like,
it's a different injury every week.
I know it is. It's a different
every
injury.
week. It's a different
every
injury.
week for him, it's something. You know, he cut his toenails and he cut it too close and it's bleeding. It's like, good golly, Miss Molly.
That hurts, though.
Butkus used to play with broken fingers, broken noses, teeth knocked out. You know, I mean, but where's the toughness in the NFL?
I heard he played with a yeast infection once, too.
He may have done that, too, to be honest with you. He lived in Chicago. That wouldn't surprise me.
What's that mean? That's not how you get a yeast infection, Steve. Jeez. Dan, tell him how you get a yeast
They
infection.
make deep dish pizzas up there, so they use a lot of yeast to make the dough and rise the dough. So he probably went.
Are you going to pick the
Gino's-
game, Steve?
He went to Gino's and got a deep dish pizza that wasn't quite done. He got a yeast infection because the dough wasn't done.
Gross. Well, Steve, actually, to let you know, Shaquille Leonard is listed with a back injury this week. Last week, I think it was a neck or a nose injury, something like that.
Neck or nose, yeah.
This week, it's a back injury, but he was a full participant in practice today. But he is listed as questionable.
So a couple more losses and he's going to demand a trade.
Yes.
Yeah, he's out of there.
All right, who you picking, Steve?
The offensive line is just pissed on themselves, basically. I mean, they just for 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this was allegedly the most vaunted offensive line in the NFL, and now they can't make a hole for a damn dump truck.
Damn,
that can drive right through you. It's like, and they can't protect the quarterback. You know, the turnover ratio for this team is pathetic. I think that Matt Ryan leads the league in turnovers individually, let alone what the team's doing. So they're a mess. They're a mess. They need to make a coaching change as fast as any team in the NFL. This season's pretty much a wash for them right now, I think. I don't think they can recover at this point. I feel bad for JT. He's going to get the crap beat out of him for the rest of the year. And now they're not going to play Matt Ryan for whatever damn reason. After we spent more money to get him, we're going to play. Well, we're not even going to play against Carson Wentz because he's not playing either. But we gave up the world for Carson Wentz. And now we gave up more parts of the world for Matt Ryan. And we're not playing either one of the two dumbasses. Nope. And we're going with Sam Erlinger. Great. That's good. Let me just go back and play quarterback.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Could you pick the game?
Well, of course I'm taking the Colts. I told you I never bet against my team.
Damn, it shouldn't take 30 minutes, Dan.
Well, you wanted me to explain it. Now Danny can tell you what he knows about the situation.
Tell us, Dan. Who you picking?
Come on, Dan. I mean, here's what it is.
So I'm going to take
wait. Let me just say this. I'll end on this. You have the all ownership dumbass game of the week.
Yo,
you have Dan Schneider against Jim Irsay. Okay, probably two of the biggest.
Gotta make the loser give up their team.
In the end, yeah, they both should give them up, and neither one of them will. You know, they're both dumbasses in the Mike Goodpaster total sense of the word.
Dan, pick the game.
And that's my team I'm talking about. And that pisses me off. I've got a freaking red, white, and blue Colts t-shirt on.
That is against the flag code of 1883. You're never supposed to have the American flag on clothing. That is unpatriotic.
No, you're not supposed to wear it on helmets too, and every team puts them on helmets.
But you're not supposed to. It's un-American.
I know it is.
Everything's un-American.
You know who the only people that are authorized to wear a flag on their clothing is?
I think it's just the military.
Military. You're exactly right. I got a lesson in that one time when I bought flags to put on the back of my son's youth football team, and the head coach came to me, and he was a colonel in the military. And
Did he tell you about the flag code?
He told me about the flag code, and I called
Dan thought I made that shit up.
No, it's not. It's a real thing. There is a code. There is a flag code that says you are not supposed to wear.
It's not supposed to be napkins either, or paper towels, or tablecloths.
Nope. It's disrespectful to the only people that are, according to the flag code of 1883, only military people are allowed to wear the flag on their clothing.
And they can't even eat off a paper plate that's with the American flag. Dan, pick the game, please. Dan, pick the game.
Well, give us your input, Dan.
Listen, hold on. Mike, Steve wants some input. I'm going to give him some input. That's what we do here. All right. We make dreams come true, like fucking Disneyland out here. All right. So
the sad part about this game is it's a 425 game, meaning it's a kind of a game of the week kind of game.
Said no one ever. So, Steve, quick question. Do you know anything about Sam Ehlinger?
He did okay in preseason. I mean, I felt that he earned a spot on the team.
Mhm.
But other than that, no, I don't know anything about Sam Ehlinger. He's taken maybe 20, 25 snaps in the NFL in his career.
I mean, if that. I mean,
If
all right.
that,
So,
yeah.
so he came from Texas. That was his college. 6'1",
Yeah.
222. Coming out, not a really high-touted prospect. He's mobile. That's probably why he's starting over Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan is literally a statue. And as you had mentioned, Steve, their offensive line has been porous at best. And they refuse to give their best player the rock on offense. Taylor should be getting 30 touches a game, but here we are. Part of the reason why the Colts suck and why their coaching staff sucks is because they're ignoring their best player. I mean, Derrick Henry doesn't have those problems. The man got 30 carries last week. Give the man the rock. That's what he's there for. But
I can tell you all you want to know about Sam Ehlinger or whatever.
What's that?
Well, I can tell you he sucks. No, I mean, really, when you watched him in Texas in 2020, he took way too many chances with the ball instead of taking the easy throw. He carries the ball really low when he's in the pocket. He has an elongated dip and wind release that almost looks like Tim Tebow. And he also has a tendency to lock into wide receivers, which, especially in the NFL, safeties are going to jump all over that. Also, I think that his follow-through is heavily restricted. He doesn't get all the way through it. I don't think he throws these deep balls with enough air. And he takes unnecessary sacks because he wants to be a hero and he holds on to the ball too long. The guy sucks. And I would say the best thing the Colts can do would be to play him for the rest of the season and then go draft Bryce Young.
I mean, for a guy who was a full-time starter for 3 years in college, this guy never got better. In fact, he regressed. And he's mobile. He's got an arm. Not terrible, not great. He, like Mike said, he takes way too many chances.
Oh, my God. Now we're just going to repeat everything I said another 5 minutes.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, Mike. That's how we build things, all right? You build a foundation piece by piece, all right? I'm just backing you up. Normally, we go head-to-head, but you know what? Screw you.
Well, because I'm almost always right, and you never are, so.
Let's go Colts, but I'm picking Washington.
All right. I'm picking Washington, too, because Slammin' Sammy sucks ass. No, Francisco 49ers play Rams. First, pick the game within 2 minutes of going. I think the 49ers win. They're going for their 8th straight victory against the Rams. Shanahan owns McVay. I think the Rams are screwed. I think the Rams are done right now. I think it's over with. And I think Nick Bosa will be all over Matt Stafford. Take the 49ers. Give the 2 points in LA, where there will be more 49er fans than Rams fans. Go ahead, Dan.
I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take San Francisco. And honestly, mostly because of what you said. San Fran, Mike Shanahan, they own the Rams in the regular season.
Kyle Shanahan,
whatever. Whatever his record is, I don't know what it is against the Rams, but I don't know if he has more than one loss against them, if he even has a loss.
All right, Steve.
If it's typical LA, there'll be more 49ers fans at SoFi than there will be Rams fans.
Oh yeah, I think there was more Niner fans there for the NFC Championship game last year.
It was just like when the Giants played the Dodgers in baseball at Chavez Ravine. There were more Giants fans there than there were Dodgers fans.
In the Super Bowl, there was more Bengal fans than Rams fans, and it was in their home stadium.
LA just doesn't give a crap about sports, period. I mean, how about the Lakers? What are they? They even sniffed the game yet?
I don't think they have a win.
Yeah,
I was just wondering where our NBA prediction show was last night. But go ahead.
Yeah. I still believe in Garoppolo. I still like him as a quarterback. I know you guys are soured on him a little bit.
I've never soured on him. I think he is what he is.
I think
he's somewhere between the 12th and the 18th best quarterback in the NFL.
He's not in the top 3 of quarterbacks in the NFL, but I think he's better than anything the Colts have sniffed in the last 5 years.
He's really not, because Carson Wentz should have been who the Colts just rolled with this year, I think.
Yeah, they should
I
have
thought
kept
Carson Wentz played well last year. Hell, Phillip Rivers played well the year before, and everybody trashed him. Colts fans generally don't really know what the hell's going on in a football game.
No, they don't.
I think they're still trying to figure out why the ball's not round and there's not a hoop at the goalpost.
For all of the reasons you guys said, I'm gonna roll with the 49ers on this one too. I think the 49ers just own the Rams.
All right, next up, the New York Football Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. The game of the week, the only game where both teams have winning records. And nobody saw this. I think both of these teams are probably at what we thought would be their win totals before this year started. Dan?
I mean, I had the Seattle Seahawks as pegged as one of the worst teams in the NFL, bottom 3 for sure. And most of it had to do with Geno Smith as their quarterback. It's funny because I was on my Facebook account earlier today, and you know how Facebook does those memories things? So I got a memory from like 10 years ago or something like that I had posted something about Geno Smith. I don't remember what team he was on at that point, but
he was in college, wasn't he?
No, I think he was in the NFL at that point because I put a status that he threw 3 picks in a game, and I basically shat on the man. And and here we are, like 10 years later, and he's the starting quarterback of the team that's in first place in the NFC West. Literally no one would have thought that at the beginning of the year. I don't know what's going on. We're in the upside down. I hate it.
Did you ever hear me rip Geno Smith?
Rip? No.
Yep. All right. Go ahead. Geno Smith was stuck on the Jets around 2013-14, which is really hard to win at. And he really never got another chance until last year. And last year with the Seahawks, I think he was like 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 700 yards, quarterback rating over 100. So I think what we see, he may not be quite this good, but he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yo, you know what? I'm going to get on board with that because fuck Jimmy G. I'm going to get on board with the Geno Smith better than Jimmy G train. I'm on there, Mike. You know what? I'm going to
because, dude, right now, Geno Smith, if you had to do top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, right now, he'd be number 4.
I mean, he would be up there. And I'll tell you,
I don't think that'll last, but I think bottom of the top 10 could last for him and win Seattle that division now.
I won't go that far.
Put it like this. Not many flukes happen for an entire half of a season. Somebody gonna figure out by now, if you know what I mean. I think he will drop back to the pack and be one of the above average guys, but I think that's what he was always capable of. He was stuck in a really bad situation early in his career.
Throughout his whole career.
He was stuck as a backup. That's not a bad situation because you make like $1 million and don't have to do anything.
But I mean, if you want to talk about teams that do well in the first half or players who do well in the first half, just look at Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Because last year, at around this time, Kyler Murray was the front runner for the MVP. I think they only had 1 loss or something like that.
And I believe on our show, I told you he sucked, and you
did
all kind of shit.
I did.
So another quarterback where I was right and you were wrong. Can you give me one where I was wrong and you were right?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, you didn't, because I have said the whole time that he is a better than average quarterback. Bailey Zappi, you're going to be wrong on. So, and you know you are.
No, I'm not.
You will.
We'll just
because you're always wrong, because you don't know shit about quarterbacks. All you do is, you're the kind of person that sits there and reads what ESPN says about a guy. You don't form your own opinion. That's why you had to do the NFL draft show with Sam Tees, because he knows what the hell he's talking about. Do you go pick this game or just sit there with a stupid look on your face?
I'm going to say, I want for the record to be known that you suck and everybody knows it. And I'm going to go with the Giants in this game.
All right. Giants and Seahawks. I'm going to take Seattle just because of Geno Smith. I think both teams will be able to run the ball. Brian DeBall and the Giants do scare me, but they got to go all the way to the West Coast. I'm going to go with Seattle, but it's a toss-up. Go ahead, Steve.
You guys know who one of the 2 most famous backup quarterbacks was of all time in my book?
Earl Morrall?
He was one of the 2, yeah.
Don Strock.
Don Strock, there you go. Had the greatest job in the world. got paid $1 million a year back then when Marino was playing. Virtually never played. Had a tan to beat anybody in Miami. Played golf every day of the week.
Yeah, but he played big in big games when he got in.
He played when he played, yeah, but he had that clipboard. Nobody could manage a clipboard better than Don Strock.
Hold on. What about Jim Storgy backing up Peyton Manning for all those years?
No.
That's the best job. As long as Peyton didn't get hurt, then everybody would have found out what Jim Storgy was, and then Peyton Manning got hurt, and they found out.
Yeah, Strock actually had to play a couple games in his career, but Morrill was the other one. Morrill played a lot. Morrill split time pretty evenly by the time it was all said and done with Johnny U. But Strock had the great, most enviable guy, great looking uniforms, looked good against his tan, living in Miami Beach, girls all over the place, not married. That guy's living the high life, making $1 million a year back then. That's probably like making 10, 15 million now and not playing.
Who's picking the Giants Seahawks game? Who did we get to? Was that Steve?
It's my turn.
Oh, okay.
I got to make a pick. Dang, I like the Giants. But it's at Seattle, and Seattle's a nut house. I'm going to begrudgingly give up the 3 points and go with Seattle in this game, but I'm going to privately be rooting for the Giants. But I think the smart pick here is Seattle.
All right, real quick, remember to check out TGT Play for all your social casino needs, especially if you like the slots. And I didn't say sluts, Dan. I said slots.
Are you sure?
So check out TGT Play at Twitter. And next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 10.5. I'll start off. I'll take the Bills. What about you, Dan?
What is it? Buffalo minus 10.5?
Oh, my God. When you pick the freaking game, this is getting so annoying.
What's the problem, Mike? What happened?
I got shit to do.
You don't have anything to do.
In other words,
You don't have anything to do. Yeah,
Dan, in other words, he's got to take a shit.
No, I've already taken a shit right before the show, and it was one of them rough ones because it took a while to get it out.
TMI.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Green Bay.
All right. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Steve's going with Buffalo. Next game. You are right, Steve?
No, I'm taking the Packers. 11.5 points is too much to give.
Okay. It's 10.5. It is not too much to give because the Bills will beat them 38-10.
I think that I'm not willing to give up 10.5 points to Aaron Rodgers yet. I'm not.
I would literally give up 20.5 points.
Okay, well, that's you. You took the Bills.
Damn, Mike.
They got
that's
one
why
of
we
those
do
analytic
this
coaches.
Mike,
this
that's why we roll the ball on the court. That's why we kick the ball off. Is to play. All right, you took the Bills. Live with your decision. I'm living with mine. I don't think the Bills will get beat. The Packers.
What, Dan?
20?
What, Dan? Yeah. You want to make a little bet?
No, I don't.
Okay. Then don't make fun of me, you dumbass. Next up.
Wow.
Halloween night. The Cincinnati Bengals, the greatest football organization in history and the Super Bowl next 10 champions, will battle the Cleveland Browns. All started off. Bengals are favored by 3. This game worries me because no DJ Reader, no Logan Wilson means Cleveland should be able to run the ball well on the Bengals. But I think in the end, Joe Burrow is hot right now. I think the Bengals win this game and they cover the 3 points. What do you think, Dan?
Dude, that Joe Burrow, so hot right now.
You're not talking about the way he plays either, are you?
So hot out there on the field.
Fly your flag, Dan.
Just lighting it up. But, listen, aside from Joe Burrow going hammer time, if the Bengals defense keeps playing the way they've been playing, Joe Burrow doesn't have to go out there to throw for 400 yards or whatever.
And they're doing it without maybe the best nose tackle in football and one of the top 3 or 4 linebackers in football playing right now. So if they can continue this, I really don't see a team that can beat them. And I'm not being a homer either. It's just the difference between them and Buffalo is I think the Bengals defense is better. I think the running game is better. And Joe Burrow is the only quarterback I would rather have over Josh Allen.
The Bengals are in the absolute best possible place you can be if you're a contender. They are
No,
not.
they ain't. They'd be in the NFC South if that was true. Go ahead.
Nah, they're not being talked about. They won the AFC, period. Not the AFC North or whatever. No, they won the AFC,
and
period.
They beat Kansas City twice within a month.
They beat Kansas City twice.
In Kansas City, down 21-3.
They should have beaten the Rams in the Super Bowl if Burrow had literally a 0.01 second more to see Jamar Chase. The Bengals win that Super Bowl. So they should have won that Super Bowl, but they're not being talked about because they're not the Chiefs or the Bills. They were not quite right at the very beginning of the season, and yet they've rattled off amazing performances the last few weeks, and still.
Hey, remember this, too. They blew out the Jets. They blew out the Jets. That's a Jets team that blew out the Packers in Green Bay.
The Bengals are in the perfect spot. No one's talking about them. No one's expecting them to be better than the Bills or the Chiefs right now. And Joe Burrow is red hot. They are in the best spot. I'm taking Cincinnati all the way.
Yeah, and if they keep winning, I need to get the Bills and the Chiefs at home towards the end of the year.
Dude, if their defense is half as good as what they are right now or what they've been in the last few weeks, Joe Burrow, it doesn't matter if Joe Burrow's not quite right or the O-line isn't quite right.
And I'll tell you this, the defense is only going to get better because Joseph Asai now is coming into his own. You got Trey Henry. Sam Hubbard's having the best year he's ever had. You get Logan Wilson healthy. Then you got Cam Anderson-Britt, I think he's named from Nebraska, who is slowly taking over for Eli Apple. Yeah, Taylor Britt. But he's taking over for Eli Apple. He played more snaps than Apple did. And no matter what anybody says about Apple, if Eli Apple is your fifth or sixth corner, you've got a pretty good secondary. Because most teams, Eli Apple would actually start for. I hate to say it because I'm a Bengals fan. I don't even like Eli Apple. And he made some huge plays in the playoffs. But okay, Steve, what do you think? Bengals, Browns, Bengals favored by 3.
Bengals.
All right. Now, let's get to the best part of our show. This is where we're done. No, I'm kidding. But I will explain to you guys while we're wrapping it up real quick in a little bit when we get off the air. But betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. All right, guys, make sure you check out TGT Play on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Grueling Truth. We got our old Grueling Truth page back, so now we got our 24,000 followers back. Make sure you like, subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out the link in the description of the video for Tipico Sportsbook, our top recommended sportsbook for this show. But for now, for Steve Risley, Dan Kornhauser, I'm Mike Goodpaster, and watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.